Hey guys, welcome back to another podcast. Where this time we're going to talk. We're going to do a. We're going to be talking about the VHS for the Peter Pan.
Well, this should be interesting. So yeah, let me get the plot of the movie here, and here we go. So let's take a look at the previews. First things first, we get well, what it always starts out with is the green warnings before they became blue for some reason. And there's no Walt Disney Home Video logo after that. Thank goodness, a little bit.
Right.
Because we already have the most nostalgic thing ever. They cut the intro for the Walt Disney Company. Starting with Theo Weaver's voiceover of the most nostalgic thing you ever hear. And that would be from magical movies to unforgettable adventures, from the thrill of the theater to the comfort of your home. You can always count on something new and exciting from Disney. Join us now for a special preview from Walt Disney Pictures. However, after that, though, we have a very unsettling transition. A transition to the theatrical trailer for Mulan, the next movie installment from the Disney Renaissance era, by starting with a flash of lightning. Don't worry, kids, it's not a thunderstorm. Well, sort of. Still a really good trailer for Mulan, I'll give you that. The teaser trailer is just fun to hear. And for those who may be wondering, what was the music in the background for the trailer? I think I mentioned before already. When we did the Little Mermaid VHS. After that preview, though, we have another iconic thing from Bea Weaver. It says, "Enjoy all the magic at home with these great Disney movies coming to video." And speaking of, we have a video preview for The Little Mermaid that starts with a very interesting voiceover from Mark Elliott that says, "Before a young lion became a king, before a beauty tamed a beast, and before Aladdin unleashed a genie, there was a little mermaid." And that's the title of the movie.
Made in 1989, guys.
Yep.
A year after my all-time favorite Disney film.
Yep. It is Ian's all-time favorite film, all right? And we already done a podcast of the VHS of that, speaking of which. So if you want to check that out on Jack's channel, so yeah. Next up is a movie preview for something is kind of from Disney, but also from this company called Great Oaks.
Wonder what it is.
Featuring the late Robin Williams. And that movie is named Flubber.
Oh, right.
Never really gone around to Flubber that much, but I do know Robin Williams very well a little bit.
Yeah.
And the last preview is second to last one, I mean, is The Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars. Never really heard of it though.
You know.
Yeah.
Kids. The original film is horrifying. Like, it scared many kids.
Oh dear.
Especially the clown.
Back before Pennywise was a thing. Now, the last preview is we have a preview for a movie that came out of the vault to celebrate its 50th anniversary. The 50th anniversary for the 10th animated feature, Melody Time, featuring Donald Duck, of course, which is also the same preview you've seen in the Little Mermaid VHS, which, like I said before, you can also check that out on Jack's channel, like I mentioned earlier, and yeah. Speaking of 50th anniversaries, we have the Peanuts celebrating it this year. Oh, why did I say selling? Why did I say selling? Never mind. Well, I would say they would sell merchandise for 50th anniversary, but what gives? Anyway, back on track. We got a voiceover from Mark Elliott again, telling us to join us after the feature for a very special bonus program. You Can Fly, the making of Peter Pan. And then we have a kind of a very unsettling feature presentation bumper. And that's like way before the one that we know and love became a thing. In around, I think, 1999. No, wait. 2000. Sorry, 2000. There, that was good enough.
Yeah.
And we have the Walt Disney Masterpiece Collection logo, which explains why we didn't have the Walt Disney Home Video logo in the first place. Because I think for Masterpiece Collection, they're just doing just having collection of many classic films, like Bambi or Pinocchio or anything like that. But we're not done yet, because we're introduced to our friend of ours, THX. The Broadway deep note in a key of E. That's a very and I thought people got scared of the moo can. Anyway, the actual movie begins with two logos. The Walt Disney Pictures logo from the 1990s. But the actual movie starts with the RKO Radio Pictures, which, of course, since this movie is in the 1950s, they didn't show the Walt Disney Pictures logo at that time. Probably until, I think, when Peter Pan was re-released in theaters multiple times, until 19-something. And there's a little something that's called Walt Disney Productions is grateful to the Hospital for Sick Children, Great Ormond Street in London, to which Sir James M. Brary gave his copyright of Peter Pan.
Wait, does that actually appear in the movie?
Yes, it does.
I didn't know that.
And there's a little, and as the song called Second Star to the Right plays over, you get the opening credits and the voice talent of the movie, such as the title character being played by the late Bobby Driscoll. But ever since Bobby's death, Peter Pan was later then voiced by he was later then voiced by Blaine Weaver ever since Disney did a sequel, Return to Neverland in 2002.
Yeah.
And Corey Burton also played Captain Hook because Hans Conrad had also died in 1973. And a fun fact, I don't think people hear this, but Hans was also the voiceover for a terrifying teaser trailer for 1968's Night of the Living Dead.
Oh gosh.
But we're not talking about Living Dead here. We're talking about Peter Pan. To change the subject. As the credits play over, we get some interesting artwork. Kind of feels like old retro 1940 cartoons, like Tom and Jerry or Looney Tunes or whatever that was. But the opening credits back then weren't a thing anymore since like 1970s or the 80s in Disney, because we just get closing credits and opening logos at the end of we get credits at the end of the movie and opening logos at the start of the film anyway. So, this movie takes place in the Edwardian London neighborhood of Bloomsbury in 1904. Bloomsbury. In 1904, George and Mary Darling's preparations to attend a party were unfortunately disrupted by the antics of the boys, John and Michael, who were acting out a story about Peter Pan and the pirates that were told to them by their older sister, Wendy. However, their father angrily declares that Wendy has gone too old to continue staying in the nursery with them, and it's time for her to grow up, much to everyone's shock. Or should I say, much to their dismay. George began to storm out the room when he trips over Nana. Both Nana and George fall, but the rest of the family only comforts Nana. George is shocked and jealous, and this causes Nana to be put in the doghouse. Needless to say that she was heartbroken and never slept in the doghouse ever. George feels sympathy for Nana, but claims that children are not puppies and Nana is truly a dog. When George and Mary leave for the party, Mary asks if the children will be okay without Nana, because Wendy mentioned capturing Peter Pan's shadow the previous night at the window. George calls the whole thing ridiculous and tells his wife that she's as bad as the children are, and it's no wonder that Wendy is getting crazy ideas. That might have been a bit harsh right there, don't you think, Disney?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. And I thought Lady Tremaine in the original Cinderella was that disruptive.
Oh no, she's much worse.
Oh gosh. Anyway, on the following night, they were visited in the nursery by Peter Pan himself. Wendy was awakened when Peter was trying to get his shadow on. In a very funny looking cartoon, Warner Bros. Type of a cartoon style right there. Wendy offers to sew it on for him as he is trying to reattach it with a bar of soap. Okay. I mean, that's funny cartoons back there. I never knew Warner Bros. Was infiltrated with Disney. Oh, wait. I meant Hanna-Barbera. There we go. That's the one I was looking for. Through conversation, Wendy learns that Peter likes to hear her stories. When Peter, however, learns that she is to grow up the next day, Peter offers to take her to Neverland, where she would never grow up. There, she could be the mother of the boys who live there. Wendy tries to kiss Peter out of gratitude, but Tinkerbell, who was jealous, pulls Wendy's hair. Okay. Okay, that's kind of a little bit sus there. Wait. Well, for those who know, Tinkerbell not only became the popular character, but she later then actually got her movie of her own in her own franchise, Disney Fairy, since 2008. And I don't think people like to hear this, but it'd be so ridiculous if I don't. But if anyone likes to know what the original Peter Pan is, we'll explain that later on what I will say here. But anyway, by the time Michael and John were awakened and are allowed to go with them, Peter sprinkles the three with pixie dust, and after a few false tries, they were able to fly by thinking happy thoughts. While flying to Neverland, Michael grabs Tinkerbell from the window sill and pours some pixie dust on Nana on her back, causing her to fly, but unfortunately gets caught by the rope as she waves goodbye to Michael as they fly away. They land on one of Big Ben's clock arrows, showing Wendy the way to the second star to the right. Peter then takes them to the island of Neverland. A ship of pirates had been anchored off Neverland, commanded by Captain Hook, with his henchman, Mr. Smee. Hook boldly plots to take revenge upon Peter Pan for cutting off his hand. He then laments Peter's role in causing TikTok the crocodile to follow him due to Peter cutting off Hook's left hand and throwing it to the crocodile. You know, for kids! TikTok found it so delicious, and he follows him everywhere for another taste, which causes Hook to go insane from no end. TikTok suddenly shows up next to the ship. Hook hears the clock ticking and his eyebrows are pointing mustache begin twitching in rhythm with the music of Never Smile at a Crocodile. The creature's eyes begin popping up to the tune, sending Hook into a panic. And that's what I just said. The creature then emerges from the water onto a rock, rubbing his belly and licking his lips, accompanied by a wide smile towards the captain. Hook then screams for Mr. Smee to save him, and Smee shoos off the crocodile. The creature then frowns and wiggles his tail to the ticking clock while sulking away. The crew's restlessness is interrupted by the arrival of Peter and the Darlings. The children easily evade them, and despite a trick by a very jealous Tinker to have Wendy killed, they meet up with the Lost Boys, 6 lads in animal costume pajamas who look to Peter as their leader. John and Michael set off with the Lost Boys to find the island's Indians, who instead captured them, believing them responsible for taking the chief's daughter, Tiger Lily. Meanwhile, Peter takes Wendy to see the mermaids, where they see that Hook and Smee have captured Tiger Lily to coerce her into revealing Peter's hideout. Peter duels Hook and have the crocodile chase him away. As Peter crows in triumph, Wendy reminds him of Tiger Lily, and he rescues the princess. Peter was honored by the tribe. Eventually, Wendy tells her brothers and the Lost Boys about the real world and having a mother, at which Peter believes they are leaving to grow up. never to come back. Oh, brother. Now, anyone who had been curious to know, you guys know Peter Pan Neverland Nightmare, right? The most recent horror film that came out, whatever the heck that was.
Oh boy.
Well, the story behind the original, people have been saying that Peter Pan was more of a manipulative and sinister figure who actually kidnapped children and keep them in Neverland. This theory often casts Captain Hook in a more sympathetic light as someone trying to save the Lost Boys from Pan's control. In the original story, the Lost Boys don't grow up and they face a very, very different fates. Like Toodles, who return to London with Wendy and are eventually adopted by her parents, grow up and even marrying. But others, like the ones go unnamed in the book, remain in Neverland with Peter. Because in the original Novo, Peter also thinned them out if they seem to be growing up. But in the context of the original book, Peter actually just instantly murders the Lost Boys. For breaking a rule, no growing up. Well, let's be thankful Disney fixed that. And I want to know what the original story would be.
It would have been rated R,
Yeah, thankfully Disney had kind of changed the original story of Peter Pan. And I mean, I'm pretty sure they also did that with Cinderella, where they removed the stepsisters getting their toes cut off in order to have to fit with the glass slipper. Thank you, Disney, for not giving us nightmare fuel. But, oh, wait. Please don't tell me I'm going to get demonetized for this, YouTube, please. But I'm just making my point and pointing that out for anyone who is aware of what the original Peter Pan was. But we're not exactly talking about that here. All right. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, Hook plots to take advantage of Tinkerbell's jealousy of Wendy, tricking her into revealing the location of Peter's lair. The pirates lie in wait and capture the Lost Boys and the Darlings as they exit, leaving behind a time bomb to kill Peter. Tinkerbell learns of the plot just in time to snatch the bomb from Peter as it explodes. Although Peter survived the explosion, Tinker was fatally injured in a now ruined Hangman's Tree. Peter tries to find and rescue Tinker while debris fall in the process, as he can see her light. However, more debris fall on Peter off screen. Peter then rescues Tinker from the rubble, and together they confront the pirates, releasing the children before they be forced to walk the plank. Peter engages Hook in a single combat as the children fight off the crew and humiliates the captain. Peter fights Hook in the final showdown until the pirate begs for mercy. Peter then allows Hook to leave and never return. Sounded like Lion King for a minute. Wait, wrong movie. After that, Peter crows, but Hook lunges at him from behind. Wendy, in the nick of time, warned Peter, and he ducks, while Hook unfortunately falls into the water below while the crocodile was waiting. And we come across a very funny sequence. Let me see that scene. I don't know what makes the Captain Hook's defeat more funny than just being fatal Other than Disney Renaissance villains having their fatal death, Hook had the worst of it in a good way. Because this basically is loosely kind of like those Hanna-Barbera cartoons or Looney Tunes cartoons. Because even though Hook was eaten by a crocodile, he still survived. And he could run on water. I never knew the laws of physics would happen. I don't know what's more funny. Hook running on water or him saying, "Sweet! Sweet!"
Oh my god.
But when Hook came out of the crocodile's belly, he found an alarm clock and just threw it back in the creature's mouth. But as Hook was swimming for his life, the crocodile got Hook's legs. But just as his jaw was about to close, it accidentally launched Hook like a projectile as he and the crew just fleed away. Why can't Disney have comedy like this again? Wait, Jack, what was your honest opinions on that scene, though?
It's been a long while since I've seen it. It sounds funny. Maybe I should get the VHS myself just to see it. But yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, after that funny funny event, or that funny defeat or sequence, I should say, thanks to the laws of physics, Peter gallantly commandeers the deserted ship, and with the aid of Tinkerbell's pixie dust, flies into London with the children aboard. Mr. and Mrs. Darling all return from the party to find Wendy not in her bed, but sleeping at the open window. John and Michael were also asleep John and Michael were asleep in their beds. Wendy wakes and excitedly tells about their adventures. The parents look out the window and see what appears to be a pirate ship in its clouds. Mr. Darling, who has softened his position about Wendy staying in the nursery, recognizes the ship from his own childhood and realizes that some childhood fantasies may be real after all. Like Rise of the Guardians from DreamWorks. The foursome all watched happily as it breaks up into clouds itself. And that's how the movie ends. What a way to go. But we weren't done with the movie just yet. Because after the movie ended with a transition heading to the clouds, or the moon, with a pirate ship, we get not only the end, a Walt Disney production, but we get a closing logo of the 1990s Walt Disney Pictures logo. Pretty sure 101 Dalmatians and Bambi probably has that. But for the way I see it, yes. I mean, since they were in the 50s, well, since they were in the 40s or the 60s, yeah. But the movie, we weren't done with the movie just yet with the black screen of death, because before that, we have a behind the scenes featurette, The Making of Peter Pan, featuring the late Walt Disney.
That's right.
So we get a lot of behind the scenes featurettes. Where we not only see some looks of the sketches of the Peter, but we also had some inspiration from silent films of Peter Pan. And so many ways that how this movie has been made, using illustrations from J.M. Barrie's original Peter Pan book. And a featurette for some reason showed a skeleton corpse.
Oh my gosh.
You know, for kids.
Yeah.
Let's be thankful Disney didn't have that.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought The Incredibles would have that.
Oh my gosh, Gazer Beam.
During the movie, though, we had some interesting looks at the never before seen storyboard sequences of the film. And a lot of illustrations over time. And we even seen a look at Bobby Driscoll being Peter Pan in real life.
Sorry about that. My dad opened my door and causing my dog to start yapping.
Yep. But anyway, for those who may wonder about Bobby Driscoll, his debut was in Song of the South in 1946. But then he would later then play at, well, before that, we have So Dear to My Heart in 1948. And then in 1950, Bobby was then portrayed to be Jim Hawkins in Treasure Planet. Sorry, I mean Treasure Island.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
Several behind the scenes looks of Peter Pan. Using live action, I bet. And so many more. And people say that Peter Pan is one of Disney's best achievements ever since. In fact, it was so good that Disney decided to re-release Peter Pan again and again. Let me look up and see what re-releases were there. It was so good that they released it not once, but up to not twice, but at least up to 4 times. Peter Pan was re-released in 1969, and then 9 years later, or 7 years later, 1976. 6 years later, again in 1982, and for the last time, and Peter Pan was re-released for the last time in 1989. But although it had a special re-release at the Philadelphia Film Festival in 2003, and however, in the UK, Peter Pan had had a limited engagement in Cinemark theaters from February 16th to the 18th in 2013. And 2 years ago, to celebrate Disney's 100th anniversary, Peter Pan was re-released in theaters on September 1st for a week in the UK. Which makes sense because Peter Pan takes place in London anyway.
And what is always the last thing we get?
The black screen. No. Blue screen of death? I thought black screen. Either it's blue screen or black screen.
Either way, it's it's unsettling because dead silence. Like, oh yeah, I'm having fun, and then dead silence.
Absolute silence.
Well, guys, I think that's it. It's been 35 minutes. Duke, what Disney VHS should we take a look at next time?
Hmm. Not so sure because there's it sounds like there's a lot to go through, or not exactly, but you know.
All right, I can, maybe I can decide, yeah, agree on something. But anyway, we'll see you all next time, guys, with our next podcast. And yeah.